All right, number 7, ask for a higher salary than what you want. If you have no option but to be the first to name your potential salary, always ask for up to 10% more than you'll take. Just be sure that number is within the normal salary range. That way, if your employer negotiates you down, you still come out on top. Let's just say, for example, there's a project manager position and it pays, I'm guessing that it pays 100K. But guess what? You know what? I think it only pays 100K, but let me go in a little bit high. I'm going to go in at 110. I'm going to add 10% onto that and then let the company negotiate me down. What if they negotiate you down to 105? Okay, you just got 5 more grand than you initially thought you were going to get. But you give yourself some room so where if they try to negotiate you down, maybe they negotiate you down to what you were going to accept anyways. I'd rather go in at 110, they negotiate me down to 105 or even back to 100, as opposed to your first offer you come out with is 100, and then all of a sudden they negotiate you down to 95. Add a couple points on there and then let them work that back if they have to work it back, and then you'll get a good feel for where you're really at. The worst thing you can do is just say, I'll take 95, and then they just go, okay, and then negotiations are over. You just lost 5, 10, 15 grand on the table. So just keep that in mind. All right, and the last tip, the last but definitely not least, and this is a good one. This is one that nobody talks about. Avoid sharing your current or previous salaries during the hiring process. What does that mean? Sharing your current or previous salaries can result in a lower salary than an employer might have otherwise offered, or no offer at all if an employer believes they can afford you. Have you ever heard that happen before, where employer thinks, oh, you believe that like project manager is worth 110, 120, and your employer goes, oh, that's way out of our price range. We're not even going to make that person an offer. I've seen that happen to where people weren't even made offers because the employer thought that they were out of their range. And the employee could have still would have been willing to take a little bit less because they wanted to work on that with that team, that project, that organization, but they didn't even come back with an offer. I'm not saying that happens all the time, but I've seen that happen before. Here's a big one, and most people do not know this. Sharing your previous salary can often cause pay discrimination issues. Maybe your previous salary doesn't accurately reflect your skills or experience. Maybe that's why you're looking for a new role. But maybe that's also what a prospective employer will use to benchmark for their salary offer. So imagine, right? You're making 30, 40, 50 grand and you believe you're underpaid. Well, if you tell that future employer that, yeah, I just got done making 40 grand. Oh yeah, this person will take, 20 grand increase of 60, even though that position is worth, let's just say 70, this is not good, and let's just be honest, right? So let's continue reading this off. Let's finish this off. All of this is avoidable by not disclosing your current or previous salary information. And you don't have to. Asking job candidates for salary history is actually illegal in a growing number of states and cities. Think about that. Most people don't know that. There's I think if I'm correct, in California, it's actually illegal to ask about salary history. I think in Florida, I think you can. So if you guys can, go ahead and click on this link here and it'll take you to a listing of states where employers are not allowed to ask you about previous salary information. And let's just be honest, right? If it's illegal in California and legal in certain other states to ask that information, that's still pretty sketchy to me. I really am not a big fan of asking people what they made, because that's what they're doing. They're trying to benchmark you and pigeonhole you based on what you made previously before you got to organization. I'm not sure I like that practice. All right. And there you have it. It may seem nerve-wracking to stand up for yourself and ask for what you want, but using the steps above, you can accomplish this without seeming entitled or pushy. Negotiations are stressful, but they don't have to get the best of you. All right. And that's 8 tips for how to negotiate salary.